Hey, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So for this video, we are on advanced part design, and we're working on the worm gear shaft. Our final product will look like this. Notice we have this incision created here, and we also have this thread here and another thread here. So to get started, for step one, go ahead and make a copy of this document right here. And once you make a copy of the document, just make sure your units are set to inches. So here's my new document. Clicking here. Workspace units, and I'm making sure that I'm in inches. So once again, make sure that you're in inches and accept. For step two, we're going to use the offset surface feature on this cylindrical face. Go ahead and click on this icon here. Notice it says offset surface. Click on this and select this surface right here. Now we're going to use the face of shaft body. We're offsetting 0 inches. And this will have a name of offset surface, thread helix A. So go ahead and change this name. Offset surface, thread helix A. Accept. Now we also created the surface down here, so we're going to rename this. Type out surface A for the name. So we go here, rename, we have surface A. Trucks and surface. Worm thread. You can also just type out surface A. If we hide the surface, now we can show it. We're good to go. Now for step three, we're going to extend the surface that we just created. So let's go ahead and select this feature here. So move boundary. We're going to select surface A. And we're typing in a value of 0.25. So 0.25. And notice if we reverse the direction, we make our surface smaller, but we want it larger. And we accept. Now we have this cavity formed here. For step four, we're going to create this helix on the surface we just created. So go ahead and select helix. So click this here. We're going to select turns. So click on conical or cylindrical face and select this surface here. And notice we have this thread formed. On 4 revolutions at 90 degrees. Accept. Go before and after, we're good to go. And we're going to rename this as sweep path A. So right click on helix, click rename, and it'll be sweep path A. Notice we formed a curve down here. We're going to rename this as well. It's going to read worm thread path. Right click on curve 1, rename, worm thread path. For step 5, we're going to create a profile. For step 5, we're creating a plane on the profile we just created. So in this case, let's go ahead and hide this surface here. So let's go ahead and select on plane. We want curve point, and the entities, we're selecting either one of these points here. Let's be consistent. So notice we're viewing this backside, so we're going to flip over to the backside. And we're clicking on this point here, and also the helix. And notice we just created a plane. All right, go ahead and accept this, but before we do, write out sweep profile A. Sweep profile A plane and accept. In step 6, we're going to create this item right here. Let's go ahead and view the backside again. Let's zoom in. Let's create this funky feature. So we're going to create a new sketch. For sketch plane, select sweep profile A plane. And now we can get started. So we're only using lines. Let's go ahead and go like this, like this. And notice the dimensions do not matter, so do not worry about the dimensions yet. Now we're going to create 2 construction lines that intersect right at the midpoint. So this is the midpoint here, and we're at the midpoint there. So now we need a construction line again, and now we need to find the midpoint here. So there's a midpoint, and we go across to connect to the other midpoint. Let's show our constraints. So at this point, these two lines are equal to each other. So go ahead and select them and make them equal. Notice they're now equal. This line up here is horizontal, and this line down here is already horizontal, so we're good to go. I'll select the point icon here, and we're going to create a point right where these two lines intersect. And now we're going to pierce. So select this icon here, pierce. Click on this point, and then click on this line here. And notice now they connect. As far as the dimensions, go ahead and select dimension. So we click on this line, and they'll have an angle of 29 degrees. This length right here will be 0.3. The length of this line down here will have a value of 0.125. We're going to call this ACME profile. So rename ACME profile. Accept. Step 7, we're going to use a sweep feature to create a thread. So let's zoom back out. And at this point, make sure you view this. So now we can see this. Select the sweep feature. We're going to remove faces and sketch regions to sweep. So we're selecting this icon. Our sweep path will be along this helix. All right. So now make sure you remove the surface A construction so we can see the surface that we created or that we removed right now. And this will be called thread cut. So rename sweep 1 to read thread cut. For step 8, we're going to use a fillet feature. However, notice that this portion over here, the small side, is on the left side. So let's reorient ourselves to look back at the front view. So here we go. So now that we're here, notice we're on the front side now. So go ahead and click on fillet. Let's select this edge here, and then this edge here. For some of you, your value right here for the radius might have a value of 1, and you might have this error. So just go ahead and change this to the value that we need, which is 0.125, and we should be good. So once again, it's 0.125, and hit enter. And notice we have a smooth rounded edge and a smooth rounded edge down here. And this will be fillet corner. So we're going to rename this as fillet corners. Accept it. We go back and forward, and we created this smoothened section. Now for step 9, we're going to go ahead and create a thread on this end right here. So let's go ahead and zoom in here. We're going to hide our plane that we just created earlier. So make sure you hide this plane. We're going to use offset surface. Let's offset this surface right here. And this will be called offset surface thread helix B. So let's just call it offset surface B, because the name is way too long. And accept. And now surface 2, notice this is created. Go ahead and rename this as surface B, or small thread. All right, now. So now for step 10, we're going to extend the surface like what we did earlier. So let's go ahead and go up here. Let's select move boundary. We're going to select this surface right here that we just created earlier. And we're going to change this value to 0.03. Enter. So we change the direction, we make our surface smaller, but we want to make our surface larger. And go ahead and accept this. But before we do, rename this as extend surface B. Accept. Step 11, we're going to use a helix to create this threaded path. Let's go ahead and select helix. Conical cylindrical surface, so we want to use pitch. So once again, select pitch for this one. Want this clockwise, so we're good here. Helical path will be 0.3. Oops, it'll be 0.03. Our start angle will have a value of 90 degrees. Conical cylindrical face. So go ahead and select this surface here. And it should be face of offset surface B. So we're good to go. So select the check mark. All right. So helix 1, let's rename this to sweep path B. Then down here, we're going to rename curve 2 to read front thread path. Rename front thread path. And it's also the small thread, so let's just remind ourselves by writing that out. So it's small. And enter. For step 12, we're creating another plane right here, just like what we did earlier. So go ahead and select this plane feature here. And at this point, let's go ahead and remove this surface. And for the entities, we want to zoom in. Make sure you click on this point here. And then also select this helix. If we go to the right side view, notice we just created this plane right here. And this is what we want. Once again, we clicked on this point, the dot, and then the helix. We're going to call this sweep profile B plane. Accept it. Step 13, we're going to create this little triangle right here. Let's go to the, and at this point, we're actually looking at the back view. So once again, go to the back side, zoom in right here. And let's go ahead and create a new sketch. So now we have a new sketch and it's called thread profile. So rename thread profile and then type the letter B just to remind ourselves. And the sketch plane will be on this right here, the sweep profile B plane. All right, let's zoom in right here. And we create an upside down triangle. So go like this. And the triangle goes like that. All right, so now let's add our dimensions. So we have the letter D. So we're in dimension. Our angle between these two lines will be 60. And let's actually add a construction line. So hit this and this line. And let's find the midpoint here. And let's connect it to this point there. All right, just to verify, notice we place this construction line at the midpoint of this horizontal line, and then it's also coincidental to the bottom point. So now we select this construction line and add a vertical relationship. So click on vertical. There we go. The distance, the length of this line right here, will have a value of 0.029. 0.029. So now we're going to add another point. So select this point and just add it anywhere on this construction line. It doesn't matter where. And what we're going to do now is pierce this helix to this point right here. The bottom point of this triangle will now be at a distance of 0.165 from the top plane. So now let's go ahead and show our top plane. So click here. And notice this is our top plane right here. So what we want to do is select the dimension tool. We're going to click on our top profile plane. We're going to hover over, zoom in, and we're clicking on this point right here. And we want this to read a value of 0.165 and hit enter. All right. So once again, for this last step down here, I clicked on this line right here, which was our top line. And then I clicked on this bottom point of the triangle. So anyways, go ahead and accept this. We're pretty much done. For step 14, we're going to chamfer 1, 2, 3, 4 edges. So So let's go back to our front view. Let's click on chamfer. Select this edge right here. We also need this edge and then this edge. And then we have a fifth edge, which is this one right here. And we want this to read a value of 0.03 and hit enter. Let's rename chamfer 1 to read break edges and accept. Now we go back and forward. Notice we created these edges right here, so we're good to go. So now for 15, we're going back to our thread. So let's go back to our back view. Let's zoom in over here. Let's go ahead and select the sweep feature. I'm going to click remove faces and sketch regions to sweep. It's going to be this triangle right here. And our sweep path will be this helix here. And notice we've just removed this section. So this will read front and thread cut. And let's accept this. So if you can't see it, just make sure you remove your surface B. And then we don't need this thread anymore. All right, so we're going to go over on our top view. So in this situation, we're going to create a construction line here, and then we're going to use a slot feature to create this area here. So let's zoom in. And let's create a sketch. Notice we're on our top view. So scroll up, go to top. And create a construction line that is horizontal here. The length does not matter at the moment. All right, so now the length of the line, let's go with 0.75. We're going to select on slot and click on this. Let's resize it to have a value of 0.1875. So double click, and this will read 0.1875. Hit enter. We're going to place this right here at a distance from this location, a value of 0.375. Rename this, it'll be key slot. Accept. For step 17, we're creating this extrude right here. Let's angle this a little bit, zoom in. So let's click on extrude. Faces and sketch regions to extrude, select key slot. We're going to select remove. We're going through all. Writing a second end position. Bind with a value of 0.2. And we're reversing the direction so that both directions are going up. So re-click this. Oops, and let's click that one then. All right, so both of these should be facing up to the top view. We'll go ahead and accept. Step 18, we're going to chamfer these edges here. Let's zoom in, select chamfer, and click on any of these edges. And notice all the edges are selected. And this will have a value of 0.01. So re-click this and select 0.01. And it'll be called key slot break edges. So rename key slot break edges. Accept. Step 19, we're going to clean up our sketch. So this is a pretty cool feature. So let's go ahead and select delete part. Let's zoom out. So we are going to delete surface A, B, the warm thread path, and then also our small thread path, and then we accept. So a pretty cool thing, if we delete this feature, our items come back, but let's keep them deleted. For step 20, we're going to change the material to be stainless steel. Right click on worm gear shaft, assign material, and let's find stainless steel. And we only want stainless steel. So make sure you find this one that has a density of 2.796 and accept. And now for step 21, we're going to use the mass properties tool to check our mass and see if we are correct. So go ahead and check that and go to the next page to begin the self-check and match your measurement with the correct measurement. So once again, click on mass properties, select worm gear shaft, and you should have the right answer here if you followed all of these steps. Anyways, thanks for watching and watch the other videos.